The Pfaff Ambition 1.0 sewing machine has a couple ways that you can lock your stitches. Of course, the obvious one is the reverse button, which when you touch it, it will stitch backwards and then forwards and so forth. But there is what is called the immediate tie-off button. So at any given time, you just want locking stitches to be right there. When you get to that stitch, go ahead and touch it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you're sewing, you can touch it, and it will immediately stop, lock about 3 or 4 times, and with your foot still on the foot control, it stops. Now if you start again, it will just start a normal stitch, and again, whenever you push it, okay? So even if you push it when you are stopped, it'll immediately, by its name, take those locking stitches and then quit. So again, your foot will still be on the foot control, and it will stop when it's done with that little sequence. The other thing that you can do, if you don't want to push that every time you want locking stitches, you can have it be added to your stitches you choose. So this little tab here, the tie off tab, has an option to arrow up and put a check mark in the box. So anytime you start stitching, it's going to do those locking stitches, and anytime, if you want, you can put them both on, and anytime you end, you can have those stitches. So as you're sewing, it will start with locking stitches, and then if you push the immediate tie off, then it will end as you are finishing up your pattern there. So that is a nice way to kind of have it always locking, no matter if you're starting or stopping. And then also too, if you watch, if we go over to stitch, say for example 48, you will notice that these stitches are still, or the tie-off features are still showing when we start to sew. So that means when you sew out your decorative stitches, that first stitch is always locked when you're going. Now if you want the pattern to end at the end of the pattern, not just in the middle when you touch it, touch the pattern restart button. What it'll do is finish up the stitch, then lock it at the end. So that is one of the ways to really make sure that your decorative stitches are finished and not stopped halfway through, because nobody wants half of a heart or anything. So speaking of hearts, so we picked 117. You'll notice that we'll have, again, locking stitches when we start. And we'll let it stitch a couple repeats here. I'll push pattern restart, and it will finish the heart, lock it, and stop. And my foot is still on the foot control. So since I pushed it on the second heart, I only got 2 hearts. But that way you always get a completed stitch. Plus, when I take my scissors and cut really close to this stitching line, those stitches will not come out. Now, when you turn the machine off, those will still remain. So when you really want to turn them off or just have one or the other, you can go arrow up, touch the check mark, they will uncheck the box, and you can kind of be back to no locking situations, but add them on anytime you want them.